My guests today are Mehdi and Driss from Exponential.fi. Exponential is a safe and easy way for crypto holders to invest and access DeFi yield. DeFi indeed. We'll talk all about this today. But firstly, a welcome to the show, Mehdi and Driss.
Thank you for having us. Excited to be here. Thanks for having us, Andy.
It's a pleasure. Look, I'm excited to have you both here. Look, let's do what we do at the beginning of the show. It would be cool just to get you both to briefly introduce yourselves and share, any part of your professional or personal backstory. I guess what has led you guys to work together and decide to create Exponential. Driss, let's start with you. Please go for gold.
All right. So this whole thing started in my couch back then in Los Angeles. Mehdi was sitting next to me and he was trading in DeFi. And back then he was managing a decent amount of money, 8 figures for friends and family, helping them invest in crypto. And he was trying to move them to DeFi to earn yield on their holdings because they were long-term passive investors. And on my couch, he was trading, I remember bridging millions of dollars and sweating a little bit while that was happening, waiting for the money to arrive on the other side. And then I was like, show me what you're doing. And basically, he had wallets, a dozen wallets for his LPs, keys, multiple keys like to manage all over the place, a crazy spreadsheet to track performance. He was dealing with like different protocols, etc. And I was like, man, this is crazy. We got to productize this. We got to build software to make this easier. And that was the genesis of the company. Other than this, like we've known each other for a couple of decades. We met first in college. Back then, we also overlapped at Uber. So my background has been in tech and fintech more specifically before I switched to crypto. So I was looking after everything money, fintech, payments related at Uber for a while. And prior to that, worked in fintech startups as well. And from there, we decided to make the jump and make decentralized finance yield accessible and truly easy to use for the world. Yeah, Mehdi.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Driss. And Mehdi, let's go to you. Yeah, same thing. Bit of an intro, bit of background. What's going on?
Yeah, the only thing I would add is that Driss is bringing like everything about this product knowledge, and I'm bringing everything about deep financial theory. I started my career in investment banking with Credit Suisse on the M&A desk in London. Spent 3 years there during the great financial crisis. That was a lot of learning about risk and black swan events. And then I went on to work at the World Bank, investing in sub-Saharan Africa. And doing that in frontier markets requires understanding risk at the most fundamental level. So that understanding of financial theory and risk, we brought to DeFi in a way that is really new. We have the best and the most holistic framework to assess risk in DeFi yield. And that makes everything simpler for the user. So you basically have these two strength, a product understanding and a deep financial knowledge that is also adapted to DeFi. And we bring them together to make it super easy to invest in DeFi yield.
Got it. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, that's just a great way of explaining things, really. Make it super easy for people to invest in DeFi and access that yield. I should just find out at the top of the show, gentlemen, be interested just to know quickly where you guys are based. And secondly, I suppose, I'm sure there are different target customer or client user segments, but who are you aiming Exponential.fi for in terms of, I guess, crypto natives, people that are new to crypto, institutions, and kind of whereabouts in the world? Where and who are you building it for?
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of where we're based, we are a fully remote company. So our team is primarily based in US, Canada, and Latin America. And Mehdi and I are located in Miami. I spent a good like over a decade in the Bay Area and relocated here over the past couple of years. In terms of which customers we're targeting, there are multiple segments. One is retail, two is high net worth individuals, three is businesses that want to earn yield on their treasury, and we also offer APIs for folks to easily offer DeFi opportunities on their platform. So there is a variety of financial players that want to integrate DeFi opportunities into their application. So that's another type of customer that we're working on. That would be more of a B2B2C play. Now, in terms of like depth of knowledge of crypto, we're targeting people who already have crypto, ETH, Bitcoin, Solana, etc., sitting idle, and they haven't used DeFi because it's just too hard and not worth the pain. And so they move over their crypto in order to earn yield. That's one segment. The other segment is new to crypto. So we're one of the only platform where you can wire in funds from your bank account into a DeFi protocol in less than 24 hours seamlessly, and do that onboarding into DeFi yield and crypto at the same time, effectively. So those are kind of the two segments. We have a smaller segment of existing DeFi users, call them DeFi pros, that convert to our platform just because it's easy to swap from one pool to another. It's one click. It's easy to track performance. It's easy to do taxes. So there is some bells and whistles that attract existing DeFi pros as well.
Yeah, got it. Thank you. And the reason I asked, gentlemen, is because as we record today, it's Friday, 8th of November in my part of the world, but I imagine it's probably, sometime Thursday night, Thursday afternoon or something in Miami or in the US at the moment. So really we're just, 24 hours, 36 hours out maybe from a fairly significant event. I'm talking, of course, of Donald Trump regaining the presidency. And as a result, you would have noticed that the markets very much approve of this. And it's particularly relevant, obviously, for anyone in the crypto industry, but particularly so for people such as yourselves who are based in the US. There's a real sense of optimism that the icy reception that crypto is given under the Biden administration is perhaps thawing, and there's a new dawn of immense opportunity. Things are perhaps looking up. But look, I'd really just love to get you guys to give your perspective on perhaps what it's been like as kind of DeFi builders in the US, whether that was a struggle over recent times, and what's the reaction on the ground amongst your circles, and what would you like to see happen from the Trump administration? A lot going on here, big questions, but please go for it.
I think the agencies in the US treated crypto pretty unfairly with like Operation Chokepoint 2.0, and it was certainly like not the easiest environment to work in. We always thought that we had to be in the US, in the biggest market, in order to provide regulatory compliance services, because we think that DeFi yield is an investment opportunity that should come to retail. It should be there for people to be able to, because the power of compounding is so essential for the financial freedom of people that we needed to bring it to everyone. And we needed to bring it, including in the market where it's probably the hardest from a regulatory perspective to be compliant. So we did the work. For us, it was a fine 4 years. However, I know that for most people around us in the crypto community, they feel relieved that, and they feel like potentially there will be more clarity from Congress over the next 2 years on everything related to crypto and DeFi. So the work that has been done over the past year by the Congress in terms of like ratifying FIT 121 is very helpful. The question is it going to get to the Senate? Is it going to give clarity to all of this? That will be great. And we are obviously very optimistic going forward on the regulatory landscape in the US for crypto.
Yeah, thank you. Driss, anything to add? What's your sense of the vibe in the US crypto community at the moment?
Well, one thing that's quite exciting, it's across party lines. We have America's most pro-crypto Congress ever, with over 220 pro-crypto members across the House and the Senate. It's very encouraging and incredibly positive for the industry. I think one thing that Mehdi mentioned that we're particularly looking forward to is regulatory clarity in the US and a regulatory framework that helps the industry move forward and move forward in a way that makes sense from a regulatory perspective.
Very good. And I just also, of course, some of the, I guess, blue chip DeFi protocols or tokens, they all did quite well over the last 24 hours. And ETH as well. It just feels like there's a sense that, some of the underappreciated projects, tokens, and sectors this year are now, expressing themselves again, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. There is a feeling that the DeFi is living its renaissance, and I think it's much needed. We are much more bullish now as a community on DeFi, namely because of that clarity, obviously, but like also the fact that we see this as something much more sustainable. And I think Ethereum has been put aside for long enough and struggling against the Bitcoin's narrative. So I think we are bottoming there. But let's see.
Yes, indeed. All right. Well, let's bring it back to what you guys are building with Exponential.fi. I'd love to, you guys have spoken about, risk, the importance of risk and assessing risk. Just explain a little bit more about, how you guys see DeFi evolving and how investors can assess risk, how they can use Exponential to earn yield. What are the risks involved? What do you guys do in terms of helping users access that yield, but in a way that's maybe appropriate for whatever their risk tolerance might be?
Yeah. So we built the easiest way to invest in DeFi. It's one click, simple, and you get tax reports, you get analytics, you get a lot of features that allow you to comprehend the ecosystem. Now, before building the ability to invest, we needed folks to be comfortable with what they're investing in and deeply understand it. And so the risk framework is built for that. Simple, it grades things from A to F, aggregating hundreds of metrics that are fully transparent and explaining the grade. So you can say, hey, I can get 3% on my ETH with an A, or I can get 20% on my ETH with a C. And here are the risks that I'm taking. Risks would be, it is a young protocol, for example. It's pretty recent. That would be like a pretty basic risk. It would be, has it been audited? Who are the auditors? Are the auditors good? And so on and so forth. What's the quality of them? And then it goes into more advanced stuff, which we can expand on, like does it have any structural issue, code quality? Does it have what's called reflexivity, similar to what happened back then with UST and Luna? Does it have any fundamental structural issue that can lead to principal loss? And that's what would trigger like a bad grade, a D or an F in our in our framework, which we wouldn't list for trading, for example. So that's what the risk is about. It's about understanding what you're getting into and being comfortable with the risk reward threshold in terms of yield. And Mehdi, let me know if you'd like to add
Yeah,
here.
I would add something that is very special about the risk framework that we built. We built the DeFi graph, which is like basically the graph of all the interconnections in DeFi. Because when you invest in a pool, you would think that you would have risk exposure to one protocol, but you actually probably have exposure to three protocols because the assets that you're investing in themselves have dependency towards another protocol. And so the DeFi graph allows us to see all the dependencies on in DeFi and compound the risk of all these things that you're touching. So because of the composability of DeFi, you have these Lego blocks built one on top of the other, and you want to make sure that you are compounding the risk across all of these.
Yeah, makes a very good sense. Thank you, gentlemen. One of the questions that people ask, and it's just such a simple question with a deceptively complex answer, but particularly used to be even more complex in the days of I guess algorithmic stablecoins and things like that. But where does the yield come from in DeFi?
All right, it's the yield comes from four main jobs today. One is staking, so validating blockchain transactions. So you're basically being a notary in simple terms. Two is lending with collateral, and you're getting interest. Three is market making, which in layman's term is when you go to the airport, you have that exchange desk, euros versus dollar, and they earn fees every time they exchange. Same thing, but built in a smart contract in simple terms. And then four is bridging, which is moving assets across chains. And every time you move an asset from chain A to chain B, you're basically getting paid a fee, which generates your yield. And so you're placing your crypto in contracts that perform one of these four jobs and earn you yield.
Very well said. It's as simple as that, folks. nothing too magic about it. Sure, there's a certain amount of risk involved, but the yield is real, if you like. Be interested. I saw you guys have a partnership with a DeFi Llama, and so you had. I saw there was a release there that you guys were talking about. So DeFi Llama's customers potentially have access to your risk assessment system, and I think there was a report as well. So maybe, any way you want to approach this, just what are the details there?
Yeah, I mean, we have the basically the best risk framework to assess risk in DeFi, and as they have like multiple DeFi yield pages, we thought that it made sense to allow them to use our risk framework. And so the idea was that we are both working for the DeFi community, and we wanted to bring this as a gift to the DeFi community. We also have reports that we started to work together on research on DeFi. And so basically, the idea behind our partnerships with DeFi Llama is to what can we do to make DeFi more mainstream, explain DeFi as experts, but also bring the community to move forward on everything related to risk. And so that DeFi report is a quarterly report where we review where the yield is on the whole ecosystem of DeFi and what are the risks related to these forms of yield. And so it's a holistic view. It's a report that is mostly made for research that we think that is really helping the community understand the future of DeFi.
The only thing I'd add is DeFi Llama is basically powered by our API. And if you go on Exponential.fi, you have an experience. You can build essentially a similar or your own experience on top of our APIs. And what we do at a fundamental level is very simple. It's two things. One, you can buy and sell DeFi liquidity pools, cross-chain, cross-protocol, and two, you can assess risk for assets, DeFi tokens, liquidity pools, and chains. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you,
Right.
gentlemen. All right. Well, look, as we, it's we're coming up really fast now. We're in Q4, coming up fast on the end of the year. But man, big year ahead, I suppose. Who knows? But love to just get both of your perspectives on how you're thinking about, everything from the crypto markets. Any interesting trends that you see coming up in DeFi? What could potentially happen next year? Is the Trump pump going to be a kind of real ongoing phenomenon? Obviously, the Trump family, the kind of the sons have been, dipping their toes and creating their own DeFi projects, really. So, that's pretty amazing to see. Do you expect this will result in more users coming into crypto, into DeFi? Just anything you want to share about, trends, what to look out for, coming up.
Sure. Well, I think that there is like a very interesting year ahead of us. Right now, what we see is that Bitcoin supply has decreased a lot from the miners. The ones that had anything to sell has sold. Similarly, we see ETH supply going down from the exchanges. And so these are like great situations for the price to go up. More importantly, I have a piece that I just pushed about Bitcoin ETF options. And so, as you know, Bitcoin itself is the most reflexive asset in the world, because the more the price goes up, the more people look at it, the more people buy it, and the more the price goes up. And so that natural reflexivity that plays also on the way down, that natural reflexivity is pretty insane for Bitcoin. But now we added the gamma squeeze from the Bitcoin ETF options. And so people can buy call options that push the option providers to have to buy more of the Bitcoin to cover and hedge themselves. And so this is basically a scenario for a lot of volatility. Usually people think that Bitcoin volatility decreases every 4 years. But in this case, this next year is going to potentially have a lot of volatility, but also a lot of volatility on the way up. So anything is possible. Any price is possible. And with Trump, anything is possible. So I'm very excited about the potential for the next year in terms of crypto. That's my view.
Thank you, Mehdi. Driss, just anything to add in terms of, market trends, DeFi, and maybe just, anything you guys are working on in terms of kind of, product pipeline type stuff?
Yeah, in terms of trends, I think the momentum ahead is paving the way for boosting DeFi innovation. I think we'll see new protocols. I think we'll see new opportunities flourish. The ecosystem will pick back up, and inflows as well into the ecosystem should pick back up. So I think they're expecting to have a great year ahead and optimistic about where we're going here. That's one. In terms of what we're building next, fundamentally, right now you can enter liquidity pool, cross-chain, cross-protocol on Aave, Compound, Uniswap in one click on our platform without having to deal with bridges and all the complexity. Users want even more simplicity. So what's coming down the pipeline is basically you deposit ETH. You select an allocation of underlying protocols you'd like to invest in based on risk as well. and it's automatically invested. So you no longer have to go enter each pool individually. You just set an allocation, percentages on different protocols, and you're done. So it goes from 1 click to 0 click. You deposit and start earning yield in a way that makes sense to you from a risk perspective. So we're pushing the boundary in terms of really building a user experience that brings in the next billion into DeFi. And that's what we're focusing on next.
Yeah, I would also say one last thing is that we are seeing more and more users and more transactions and volume going on through Exponential. And so that is a testament to DeFi coming back. And so DeFi yield being much more interesting and so on. So that's super exciting. I think we are above 40,000 transactions on chain. And so that convexity is very interesting for us as well to see.
Yes, indeed. All right. Well, look, as we finish up this part of the podcast, just to tell people, for people that are listening, perhaps they're DeFi natives, perhaps they are just sitting on a bunch of ETH or, Bitcoin, whatever assets they might be sitting on, and they're thinking, yeah, maybe I could be earning a bit of yield on some of my assets. Just tell people what is the best place for them to come and learn more about, where is the best place for people to come and learn more about what you guys are building with Exponential? Yeah, what should they do? Where should they go?
Yeah, it's all on Exponential.fi. So there you have all the opportunities listed. We have research reports for every liquidity pool. And so you can read and learn there, assess risk, and determine what you're comfortable with. We cover over 90% of DeFi TVL. So if you are a do-it-yourself user as well, you can go on our search database and look up anything you want to invest in DeFi, and you'll have a nice report with details for you to look at. If you're seeking simplicity, you can also invest through us. We curate a few dozen opportunities that are available for trading. Yields range 5 to 20% typically on ETH, USD, and Bitcoin, and depending on the risk and so on and so forth. So there is some good stuff in there. We also have more advanced type opportunities like multi-asset or altcoin opportunities available on the side, but it's all on Exponential.fi.
Awesome. Well, I reckon, gentlemen, it is time then to finish up the podcast. And we do that, of course, by running you both through the very famous crypto conversation hot take round. Are you up for it?
Sure. There, let's do it.
Let's do it. So what we'll do is, because we've got two of you, I'll just direct the questions in turn. It's just a bit of fun, the hot take round. Just want you kind of honest, quick fire, hot take style answers if you like. Let's start with you, Driss. And the question is, where would you say that you sit on the Bitcoin maximalist to multi-chain opportunist spectrum?
Maximalist.
All right. Mehdi, we'll go to you. What would you say is your firmest conviction crypto opinion?
I think DeFi is going to replace TradFi in major ways. It is just a more efficient way of interacting and doing finance. It is one that is done without intermediaries like humans who make errors. And it's just a question of time before DeFi takes more and more of the suit jobs that are happening in traditional finance. Obviously, I don't think investment banking gets canceled by DeFi, but I think that there is a lot of jobs like lending that will definitely be replaced by DeFi.
Yeah, AI and DeFi is definitely going to take out the banks. It's just just a matter of time. Speaking of time, Driss, Bill Gates famously said that we tend to overestimate what we can accomplish in 2 years and underestimate what we can accomplish in 10. 10 years in blockchain is a very long time. especially with the rate of exponential technology change that the world is experiencing today. But look, just speculate away. 10 years' time, DeFi, Exponential.fi, what does it all look like?
Well, DeFi, over $1 trillion in assets, hundreds of protocols, more jobs moved in there in addition to the four I talked about, from traditional finance into decentralized finance. Exponential.fi, the access gateway to DeFi. So whenever someone wants to enter an opportunity in DeFi in its future state, it's through Exponential.fi.
Very nice. All right. Mehdi, here's another way of thinking about the future. It comes from a quote by sci-fi author William Gibson, who famously said that the future is already here. It's just not evenly distributed. Can you think of an example of the future being here right now, but most people aren't aware of it?
Well, if you think about it, people are not aware of like how DeFi works. This is incredible case where humans have been replaced by blockchains. And so if you think about this, you have three cases where computers are replacing humans in the world. Obviously, the most famous one is AI. It's replacing employees. Then you have like robotics, replacing people on a supply chain, doing things with their hands. And in DeFi, what you have is the first case where a computer replaces an intermediary. And when the amazing part is that DeFi is the only way out of these three that you can get the benefit of that additional productivity as a person. Otherwise, like if you wanted to take advantage of AI, maybe you can invest in Tesla, but it's not that simple. And if you want to take advantage of robotics, maybe you are a VC, but that's not open to everybody. DeFi is the only one that is permissionless, that is available for the crowd, and where you actually can take the benefit of that by taking the job that someone in banking was doing and providing liquidity and getting the returns. So that's amazing. And I think that's where I would say it is sci-fi. It is sci-fi in the sense that you have to trust that a smart contract or with math is doing a job of like taking the liquidity from you, allowing a job to be done of trading or of market making, of lending, and then is able to give you back your money plus the yield over time. It's sci-fi.
Yes, it is. And look, speaking of sci-fi, it brings us nicely to our final question, which is, in fact, we'll start with you, Driss. What is your favorite science fiction book, film, or TV show?
I like the movie Arrival. It has a philosophical twist to it, where essentially the concept of time is challenged through basically a species that views and can perceive time in a differently, where past, future, and present become commingled. And I find that very interesting because you think a lot about the future in what we do, and so that movie resonated. Yeah.
Very nice. And Mehdi, what about you?
Too many to think about. I think like I just love Foundation. I love everything about Christopher Nolan. But I would focus on one of these like series on Apple TV that very few people maybe have watched, which is Silo. Silo is about like people living inside a silo under the earth, and it's just they see outside as something dangerous, and they have only like basically a screen to see outside. It's a little bit like the allegory of Plato's cavern. But it's interesting. At first, I was like really not thinking that it was such an interesting concept, that it was applying to just one thing, but actually it's the human condition where we are all in a silo. We are all afraid of everything outside, and we're still not sure that what we see and what we are afraid of is a matrix or is actual reality. And so that's a very interesting thing.
Yeah, that's a great selection. Yeah, I watched, my family, we watched Silo season 1 and very much enjoyed it. Yeah, there's some couple of really intense episodes in there as well. And funnily enough, I believe season two
It's
Silo
coming.
begins, it's next week, starts next week,
Yeah.
in fact. We
Yes.
just published on Brave New Coin recently. Yeah, Apple released, I think, the first 5 minutes of season 1 on YouTube, so we put that on Brave New Coin. And yeah, season 2 is coming. But folks, if you haven't watched season 1, well, it's time to do so. Another Apple's a kind of a dark horse. Like you guys watched Severance. Severance was an incredible
Phenomenal.
sci-fi show on Apple as well.
It's coming as well in January, by the way.
It is.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right. Well, that's a nice place to end it, I reckon, gentlemen. And look, maybe just to take us out, would invite each of you just to share your X profiles or LinkedIn or wherever else you like to hang out online. And again, just make the case for why people should come and look at Exponential.fi.
Well,
Yeah,
on Twitter, I am Elmi2, and Driss is Driss Ben.
and our Exponential's Twitter handle is @exponential.fi. Look, it's simple. If you have cash, you typically don't let it sit idle. Same thing for crypto. ETH, Bitcoin, USD as well needs to be earning yield and be put to work. And Exponential.fi is the easiest, safest way to do that. So check us out, and you'll enjoy the experience. The application is cool to use, and we get very positive feedback from our customers today.
Awesome. Thank you so much, gentlemen. All the best, and bye for now.
Bye.